Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I'm your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm here with my buddy, Jason. How's it going, dude?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Happy New Year to start us off.
Happy holidays, everybody. Hopefully you had a safe one and a safe New Year.
Yeah, we skipped a little week in there. I guess Christmas kind of throws a pretty big wrench into your plans.
That's what happened. We were going to do the show last week, and then Christmas fell on Tuesday, and then me and you were out doing stuff on Thursday, and, life just happened.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Thursday was a nice day, too, man. It was good to get to hang out. Me, you, your little guy. We all had a nice day, pretty long hangout and fun. I had fun. I don't know about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got to go say goodbye to a place, and
now it's coming back to his the training school,
which is great, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for
it's
that.
Staying alive in a new form.
Yeah. All right, before we get rolling, don't forget to check out our social media stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at ASC Pods. You can find our entire catalog on B Plus Player Radio. Find them on Twitter at B Plus Radio. And check out our sponsors over at Too Sweet Magazine. Find them on Twitter at 2TOO Sweet Mag. All right, it's funny, you wanted to start with this game, and Chris in the chat is already bringing up about the incident that happened in the week.
Yeah, the Antonio Brown, bitch fit.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know what you want to call it.
But we'll get into that game and we'll talk about it. Pittsburgh beats the Bengals. I think they were at home, 16-13. Yeah,
they did their part, and they didn't do it very well. I mean, that game, they didn't look very good. And what's going to happen now with Antonio Brown, if that's any kind of preview of what will happen. If he's not there, then their offense did not look very good.
I was just reading something. I don't think if he goes anywhere, he will not be traded until after June.
Yeah, there's a bonus or something money in there, right?
Yeah, I have to find
it. That's always at June 1st. That's all right if you don't. I mean,
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
Well, they did get one thing, but Juju Smith-Schuster became the third player in Steelers history to have 110 or more receptions in a single season.
Yes, yeah, he's a stud. This is only his, I think, second full season.
Yeah, he's definitely the one of the younger, better receivers in the NFL right now, and. He had a lot of help on the other side from the guy we were just talking about, Antonio Brown. But, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport said that a trade request was made, but this is the big thing. The Steelers would absorb a $21.12 million dead money cap hit if they traded Antonio Brown prior to June 1st.
Yeah, so after June 1st and later, Antonio Brown's going to be the hottest name in the NFL because I think what they need to do is they really need to and I actually just saw Ben Roethlisberger said he's not returning any of his calls or texts, which is not good.
Not at all.
You have a longtime teammate like that. Well, I read that it was an altercation between the two of them that triggered all this, right? Like Brown threw a football at Roethlisberger at practice or something.
He chucked it at his head.
That's kind of unacceptable. Look, guys been together for a long time, and the Steelers have had some adversity lately. And when players start reacting like that, and Antonio Brown's not a kid either. Like
he's 30.
I understand if you have a kid that does it, Yeah, he's been in the league for a while. I'll put it like that. What, 8 years? 7, 8, 9 years now.
Dude,
It's
it comes
it's
down
not good.
to this, and I hate to say it, but it's fucking receivers, man.
Yeah, they are the prima donnas of the NFL in a way. And the Steelers, man, now you got like it's almost like Le'Veon Bell had his drama this year, and now Antonio Brown's like, yeah, I'm gonna one up it at the end of the year. Let's miss the biggest game in Steelers season, that they have to win.
Well, it's funny because the article I read is he had the blow up, didn't come back to the team for the rest of the week, showed up on Sunday thinking he was going to play.
Yeah, and then he left at halftime, right? They said he left the stadium at halftime.
Yeah, because the Steelers told him, they're like, no, you're not playing. And kudos to them, because there's a lot of other organizations out there that would have just let it go and said, yeah, you can play.
Yeah, definitely, especially in the past. Like 2018 has changed a lot of stuff. Social media also has changed a lot of stuff where you can't like get away with stuff anymore because it's going to be found out or seen or found out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But it says here
this is going to be a story.
You keep cutting in and out, dude.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on.
All right, what I was going to say.
How about now? Am I good?
Cut you off. That if they waited to trade him till after June 1st, they would save $15 million in cap money.
So that's definitely when he's going. They're gonna. He probably won't be allowed to the facility anymore.
Because Dean said that he's not returning anyone's phone calls.
Yeah, I just read that when I mentioned about him not returning Roethlisberger's texts or phone calls. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It'll be interesting to say the least, because I really like Schuster. I think he could be, a go-to guy.
Oh, absolutely. They have the Washington kid. They can always bring another guy in the offseason. Devontae Parker is going to be a free agent. The Dolphins are going to part ways with him. There's a good name to bring in. The Steelers they're all right when it comes to that kind of stuff. They have other issues. I honestly, I'll be honest with you. I'll be frank, and I think I even said this, blunt, whatever you want to call it. I believe that they should fire Mike Tomlin. I think that there's starting to be a disconnect there between him and the players, and there comes a time where, you've had a coach so long, as we learned with Andy Reid here in Philadelphia. You've had him so long. Out. Yeah, there comes a time where you're like, man, it might be time for this guy to go. And right now might be time for him to go. I think they're going to because Roethlisberger needs he's got one more run left in him probably next year. And I was thinking that was going to be why Tomlin would stay and Antonio Brown would be there and everything.
Yeah.
But now, shit, the first tire has blown off of their car, and what are you going to do, It's hard to replace that Antonio Brown, because I would argue that he's the best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. There's guys out there that are good, but I think if you watch Brown late in games, that guy has a way of just getting the ball and his ability to make plays in big games is what separates him from a lot of other guys. Like, I think DeAndre Hopkins is great, but he doesn't have that catch and long run ability like Antonio Brown does. Hopkins is kind of a catch and maybe 10-yard guy, but Brown is just a stud. And whatever team ends up with him, man, look out. And I saw a couple guys were saying San Francisco. He commented on that. I think San Francisco is a bad landing spot for him, because I think he only has 2 to 3 more really, really good years left in him. Obviously, being 30 years old, and I'm not sure where he's going to end up. Of course, Dallas would be a team that comes to mind, and putting him with Cooper.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
It's going to be very interesting, but like we talked about, the Steelers did their part, so then we'll get into next we had Baltimore did their part. hanging on and beating the Browns 26-24 and clinching the AFC North.
Yep. Yeah. A late pick of Baker Mayfield wraps it up for them. That game got good, man. I was rooting for Pittsburgh. Candace is a Steelers fan. I like seeing the Steelers in the playoffs. They're not a team that I dislike. But what happened, and Baltimore, obviously down the stretch, played much better football than Pittsburgh did. Baltimore deserved a playoff spot. The Steelers really did, and the Steelers lost themselves some games late in the year where they should have had them. And the only people they can kick is themselves. They can kick, maybe kick Mike Tomlin out of the building at this point, but we just talked about that.
It's funny you mentioned kick themselves, but they should kick their kicker after they give him the money. He has a friggin' meltdown this year.
Yeah, that's another thing, man. But the only people that Pittsburgh have to blame right now is themselves, the Steelers. Yeah, Baltimore played better football, and they got the spot, and they deserved it. And hey, look, you got to give Harbaugh credit too, man. You got to give Harbaugh credit because there was a 5-6 weeks ago where there was talks that Harbaugh was out, like he might not even make it through the year, and then all of a sudden switches quarterbacks to Lamar Jackson. He gets Lamar Jackson like into their system, playing really good football, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of Lamar Jackson. I don't know how he's going to be as a pro quarterback going forward, but for
right now,
hey, and the crazy thing is we talk about trades, and there might be like a big trade market for John Harbaugh, which is crazy. Like I saw Denver possibly
I heard
be
that
interested in moving
John
for him.
Elway loves him.
Yeah, I don't disagree with loving Harbaugh. I like Harbaugh. I mean, we had him here in Philadelphia as special teams coach, and our special teams was the best in the NFL. So the guy has coached well at every single job he's had in the NFL. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's also a very level-headed head coach, in my opinion. I think you have coaches that don't know how to handle certain situations, and I think Harbaugh's done a good job in Baltimore handling every situation he's needed to handle.
Yeah, where he's kind of even keel, level-headed, I guess you'd call it.
Very, very. It's night and day with those two, like sun and moon, where Jim is like the sun. He's hot-headed and, it lights every situation up. Harbaugh is just like a calming, relaxing, kind of coach. John, that is, the other brother, the Baltimore brother.
And
you see which one won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Now, it's funny, I'll segue with that. You mentioned the Eagles. We'll go to their game. They beat up on the Redskins 24-0.
Yeah, I don't know why I had 24-10 down here. The Eagles didn't allow a point. Honestly, I think we both can say that was the most dominating Eagles performance of the season, defensively especially. They played a bad Redskins offense, but they played a bad Redskins offense the way a good defense should have played a bad Redskins offense. The Eagles' defensive line dominated this football game. There was no Josh Johnson, I think, maybe had 5% of his snaps. He had an actual time to step back and sit there and get a pass out.
I was going to say credit to their defense because they hung in. That's what made this game not be a lot uglier than what it could have been.
Yeah. I think if you look after this season, you're going to have, no matter what happens this week against the Bears, you're going to have guys that are going to get a lot of credit for the Eagles. Fletcher Cox, Michael Bennett, guys like that are going to get a lot of credit. Malcolm Jenkins, obviously, being that solid, backbone type of player for the Eagles secondary and defense. But the guy I think that Eagles fans should be extremely excited about going forward is Avonte Maddox.
Yep.
Avonte Maddox coming back, stepping into that number one corner role. He's a rookie third-round pick. Stepped into that number one corner role and had a phenomenal final, 4 or 5 games of the season, 25% or so of the season, final stretch run there. He He played against some big receivers, and he looked pretty good. He gave up a little bit of yards to DeAndre Hopkins, but never gave up a big play to DeAndre Hopkins, which was big.
100%.
And he's also a kid that before he got hurt, they moved him to safety, and he started and played well. Got hurt, came back. They needed him as the corner because Corey Graham took over at safety, and now Goddard and him, those two picks going down the stretch this year makes Howie Roseman look even more intelligent as a general manager, and Joe Douglas as a player personnel guy.
Couldn't agree more. There's not really too much more to talk about this game, so we'll move on because the Eagles.
I got one.
Good.
I got one thing. Hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. Nick Foles ties the single game record for consecutive completions with 25 in this game, and the ball before his first completion in the streak was a drop by Golden Tate, so he would have broken the record if Tate didn't drop that pass in the first quarter.
That sucks, man. All right, well, the Eagles did their part, so we're going to move over to the Bears helping out the Eagles and eliminating Minnesota 24-10.
Hell yeah. They second half, man, the Bears came out, they clamped down on Minnesota, and Kirk Cousins just looked like
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins just in big game.
This
Kirk
is a
Cousins showed up.
True story. I'm watching the Eagles game and I'm pacing back and forth to my laptop in my dining room to keep seeing what's going on.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta send a big shout out to my boy Mark. He had this game and he literally texted me from start to finish everything that was going on in this game. So nice. I'm just sitting there looking at my phone and he's telling me, and because we get the Eagles game and he doesn't because he moved to Georgia, I'm texting him everything in the Eagles game. And the Eagles game ended up being a little bit less stressful because they kind of just took the game over pretty
dramatic.
Early. Yeah. Man, it was great.
I'll say this: when the Vikings scored and it was 13-10, I started sweating a little bit.
Same here. And then there was the talks about like are they going to start pulling some of their defensive players, which they actually did. They pulled Mack and Hicks relatively early in the second half. It wasn't like they waited. When they got that, I think they took the 20-10 lead, and then those guys came out, and I was like, oh no.
Here's some. I want your
21-10 lead.
Somebody in the chat just put the defense and offense in Minnesota has backtracked. The guy in the auto mechanic glasses has to take some culpability.
Yeah, that's Adam in the chat. That's at it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think Zimmer scapegoat a week ago. What was it, about maybe on a month ago now? And their offense really didn't get much better. So it's kind of,
and their defense got worse.
Time for, their defense injuries helped it get worse. But I guess before the guys got hurt, they never really were playing up to the standard. That Eagles during that championship game seemed like it really, really did something to the Vikings that they never truly recovered from.
Excuse me. Yeah, like mentally they were never the same.
Yeah, and them and the Jaguars to an even greater extreme. Just they're terrible right now. But yeah, I agree. I think right now, if they're going to fire Zimmer, right now is the time to do it because there's so many good coordinators out there, especially offensive minds. Like the two guys from the Rams I really like, Taylor and I can't remember the other guy's name. I can't remember his name, but those are two guys that I think
I really like. And he's probably going to get a job and Dallas is going to be screwed. Is
Chris Richard?
I'm forgetting his name. The dude I told you that was linked to the Jets.
Is it Chris Richard, the passing game coordinator and secondary coach or whatever he is? Yeah, I like him. He's another guy. He's an upstart type of young, kind of name that you want to look at. There's a lot of guys out there. Lincoln Riley being off the market now, signing his extension with Oklahoma, which kind of came as a surprise to me because, hey, even though Oklahoma lost that game to Alabama, they look good. They played really well.
Huh. Adam is saying there's a resignation watch on in Minnesota, but nobody's saying who.
Sure.
Because I remember after the 4:30 games, the dude that comes on NBC, like the pregame before the Sunday night game, was talking about that.
Which dude? Oh, I know you're talking about Pro Football Talk guy.
The Pro Football Talk
Florio?
guy.
Yeah, Mike Florio.
Yeah. He was saying somebody's going to resign, but he doesn't know who.
Phew, that's a tough one. I don't know if it's going to be Zimmer at this point because if I think if you're a head coach, if you're going to do it, you do it early week after the game.
Then my thing is, I think they realize now what a big mistake it was to give Kirk Cousins all that money.
Would they give $90 million guaranteed
Fully
dollars?
guaranteed.
Wow. So you're stuck with that guy
for at least what was it? 5-year deal?
4 or 5, yeah, five, yeah.
Yeah,
or was it 6? I'm not sure. It might have been 6.
But either way, they're committed. They're all in, as they say.
Because 6 at 90 would be 15 per year, so that sounds about right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, either way.
Yeah, that's crazy. Either way, that's looking worse and worse every day. But let's keep it rolling. We'll do another playoff type game. We have the Texans beating Jacksonville 20-3 and clinching the South.
Yeah, Texans, man, you gotta. Gotta be what? If not the biggest right around the biggest turnaround in this season, right? They had the longest run, and it started with Peterman in Buffalo throwing him a pick 6 to end the game, right?
I'm pretty sure whenever they started it, it was the week after they lost to the Giants.
Yep, and then that's that. I losing to the Giants better wake you up. I'll put it like that. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention something. The Bears, most regular season wins for them since 2006. So 12 years later, the Bears are back, I guess you would say, and that would have been the Urlacher teams.
Yeah, Dean brings up an interesting stat. The top 7 paid quarterbacks in the league, and not one of them are in the postseason.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah, I heard that stat earlier.
I would have thought Brady would have been in the top 7.
He's not.
I guess he can't be, right? When you want to keep building teams up there, which, man, that even makes him look like a better quarterback. If he's not even in the top 7 paid, and he's there every year.
All right, Rob in our chat is saying that Greg Papa is replacing Ted Robinson on the Niners.
Greg Papa. Oh, yeah, the play-by-play, right? The radio or whatever.
Oh, yeah, on Niners radio. I'm sorry, I just saw that other part.
Yeah, I just saw that. I read that this morning at some point.
Here's the thing. I think Bill O'Brien might be one of the guys you would consider for Coach of the Year.
Oh, absolutely. O'Brien has to be there. Andy Reid, I think. You have to give Andy Reid some thought. Hey, I threw out a name, and I keep throwing it out to you, man. I like Frank Reich.
I was just going to say, I think he's the one that'll probably win it.
I think what he did in Indianapolis this year, especially the start they got off to and just not looking very good, and now look where they're at, I think Frank Reich is definitely a candidate for it. I'm trying to think. I think I hear the train coming, which means I'm going to hear it. I'm going to hear it in about 45 seconds. As it goes by my house,
that's why we do it live, people. It's funny you mentioned the Colts because that's the next game I was getting ready to go into. Where we'll go to that one. We have the Colts beating Tennessee, actually kind of beating them up pretty bad, 33-17.
Yeah, man, the Colts,
and they clinched the last spot.
Yeah, I don't know Which is funny because that game, the Steelers actually had a shot during that game. Remember, if that game finishes in a tie,
the Steelers get in.
Which there's been a lot of them this year. If that game finishes in a tie, the Steelers would have gotten in the playoffs, but that didn't happen.
This. Me and Adam talked about this on Sunday. If there's one team I don't want to play in the postseason, it's this Colts team.
Yeah, do you think so though? Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying, how do you think they're going to come out? Like, are they going to come out like with heavy momentum, or is it going to be kind of like oh man, we're there, and are they going to come out flat? Like, you know how some teams tend to just.
I'm curious to see.
Rival, which I mean, in my opinion, that can work in their favor. Because usually you have better games when it's a division rivalry starting off the playoffs.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because they lost to them by 3 in overtime the first game, and then they beat them the second game of about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, so we have 2. Yeah, man, that's gonna be a good one.
I'll tell you what, I really, really like that kid, Leonard. They have the linebacker, the rookie.
Yo, that he's the defensive rookie of the year, no doubt, in my opinion.
Because he had the most tackles in the league this year.
Oh, speaking of, you want to run through the awards real quick?
Go ahead.
Because we usually do that. I don't. Well, who do you think wins MVP?
Mahomes.
Do you?
Yeah.
Man, I think Breeze is going to get it. The
reason I say Mahomes is I think when they were kind of neck and neck, Breeze is kind of tailed off the last month.
Yeah, that's true. But remember, Mahomes turned the ball over a couple of times in big games where it could have.
That's true too. Maybe I'm just thinking from stats perspective. I wouldn't be shocked though if Breeze won because Mahomes is so young, the voters could be like, let's give it to Breeze. He'll win one eventually.
Yeah, like Adam just said, Breeze politics. That's why I'm thinking. Rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, it's got to be Saquon Barkley, right?
Yeah. Because he's the third player ever to have a 1,200 plus yards rushing and 600 plus yards receiving in a rookie season.
Yeah, and he also broke the receptions record by a rookie running back. So he holds that now.
Because it was Dickerson, and I forget the other person was the only other people to do it.
Yeah. Comeback player of the year has got to be Andrew Luck. I don't think there's any debate around that one. What else is there in there?
Defensive player of the year, Aaron Donald will win that.
Oh, it's got to be him, right? Like I don't think.
Dude has
20
think there's even plus a debate. Sacks, and he's a defensive tackle.
Yeah. I don't think there's any.
Although there's one guy I really like, and Adam has mentioned him before, and I've been catching up with him more. I forget his first name. That Jones that's on the Chiefs, the pass rusher.
The young one, right?
Is the one that had like 10 straight games with a sack.
Oh yeah. He definitely gets like some consideration as MVP, MVP defensive player of the year. But I think Donald has to get it.
Oh no, I agree. I'm just saying I think he's coming.
No, I like that name though. That's definitely a good guy to point out. What other awards are there?
His name's Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
Dean put in the chat feud of the year: Hugh Jackson and Baker Mayfield.
Hey, it might end up getting even better because I just saw that the Bengals are giving Hugh Jackson a shot at being their head coach.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I'm trying. Well, if you have defensive player of the year, there's obviously offensive player of the year.
Well, yeah, I think that has to go to. I give that to Mahomes.
Yeah,
I think. Another guy I think that might get a little bit of consideration for Offensive Player of the Year is got to be McCaffrey, right?
Yeah. He's turned into a monster.
Yeah, man, he's looking like one of the better ones in the league, running backs, that is. He's just that dual threat as well. What about, like, you want to throw something out like biggest bust of the year or something? Just a little thing we can talk about.
Yeah, I'll tell you, biggest disappointment as a team has to be the Vikings.
I still go with the Jaguars.
Well, yeah, they're up there too.
Because they didn't even threaten the playoffs. And the Jaguars, man, they had they looked better in the championship game than the Vikings by far, and they still came out and looked worse.
And they're probably getting ready to cut Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, well, I think you got to trade him. You can't let him just get away. But man, I didn't really like. I know why Coughlin said that stuff. Like, I mean, I saw what he said, but was it really necessary? Like, did they really do like anything to deserve that? Because I didn't really.
The only thing I heard was that him and Yeldon sat on the sideline and looked completely disinterested.
That's what I read. Yeah, that's kind of rough, man. But then again, Coughlin at times can be a bit of a dick. So.
Yeah, he's very old school.
Yeah,
I guess you would call it. Oh,
can I? Yeah, I wrote a few things down. Can I just run through them real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just Greg Kittle becomes the all-time leading single-season receiving yards record holder for a tight end.
After Travis Kelce broke it 30 minutes before.
Yep. Russell Wilson now is the all-time leading touchdown passer for the Vikings. That's not that terrible way to say it, or Vikings. For Seattle, he holds the record for most TD passes in Seahawks history now. Mike Evans broke the single-season receiving yards record for the Buccaneers. And Sunday, Green Bay had their worst home shutout loss since 2006.
Wow.
So there's
here's the interesting one that Adam said to name. Most disappointing top 20 pick this year.
Most disappointing top 20 pick this year?
Yeah, from the draft.
All right, let me Google the draft real quick and see who all was in the top 20. 2008 NFL draft here.
Dean put Sam Darnold.
Yeah, man, Darnold didn't have a good year, huh?
But I really can't fault the guy because look what he's working with.
Yeah, I can't really find anyone that. Yeah, it might be Darnold. I'll tell you what. I think the biggest like value out of the draft this year in the first round had to be Leighton Vander Esch. I think that guy really.
And remember, Lance wanted to kill when they drafted him.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that great of a pick either, man. But now I'm definitely disagreeing. Yeah, I can't really see anybody other than Darnold that would. I guess Josh Rosen. That team was pretty terrible. That's an
interesting one. Adam says, "What about the linebacker Buffalo took?"
And the top 20?
Yeah.
Where the hell is he? Oh, Trim Edwards or whatever.
Yeah.
True. Was his year? I didn't really follow too much of him this year. So.
Dean says trade of the year.
Wait, the Edwards dudes in Buffalo had 121 tackles this year.
Well, then he's done it very quietly.
The linebacker. Yeah, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. So.
Not him.
Yeah, that ain't him.
Trade of the year.
Trade of the year?
Yeah, to me it has to be the Cooper trade.
Yeah, it's got to be the Cooper trade. It definitely, because he won them a game in overtime, and he started to look really good, and I can't even think of another big trade.
No, me either.
Yeah, I can't think of another big trade. I don't know.
Not at all. But no, why don't we go over the firings real quick before we get into the wild card games this weekend?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, do you have the list?
Yeah, I think I have the complete list. There was 6 of them, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Denver fires Vance Joseph. Arizona fires Wilkes. The Jets fired Todd Bowles. Cincinnati fires Marvin Lewis. Finally, 0-7 in the playoffs in 16 years. I don't know how that guy kept that job. Tampa Bay fires Dirk Cutter, or however you want to pronounce it. And the big one that I think is going to be a big hire for somebody, Miami fired Adam Gase. That was the big one to me.
I think they said him and the owner.
He's definitely ending up somewhere. It ain't going to be Denver or Cleveland, that's for sure, because the two GMs there don't really.
Yeah, not to cut you off. Obviously, we're being slow. The biggest trade of the year was Mack to the Bears.
Yeah, I forgot all about that one. Probably because it happened way before this. It's been a while ago. I'll put it like that.
Adam said he's starting a GoFundMe to rehire Lewis in Cincinnati.
Yeah, man. How do you go that long with a job? The only people I know who can do a shit job and keep it that long is a politician.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, the only person who can have a terrible performance in their job and keep it for as long as Marvin Lewis did is a politician.
I agree.
And if they hire Hugh Jackson to take over for him, man, that's to me, that's one of the worst moves. It's going from bad to badder. That's obviously
I
not a
agree
word. Bad
with you.
To worse,
it's like going from bad to even worse.
Man, it's...
Rob thinks that Gase is going to take a year off. I disagree. I think he's either going to end up a head coach or a coordinator somewhere.
I think Gase has got to be the hot name for somewhere, man. Like.
You know where I could see him go, and people might scoff or laugh when I say this, but I could see him going to Green Bay.
Green Bay would be a good spot for him. It definitely would. I think Adam said Bowles, DC, and Green Bay. I agree with that. Todd Bowles is a good defensive coordinator. I think guys like him just aren't cut out to be head coaches, but much like a Romeo Crennel type of guy.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels, I think it might get a job somewhere, and he should stay as an offensive coordinator. Sometimes guys just don't work out when they're at the top of the captain of the boat. But when you make them like a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, they're fantastic in those jobs. Bill O'Brien was a guy that I was thinking for a while was not cut out to be a head coach, and now I kind of like he's going to be a guy who's going to get head coach of the year votes too.
Yeah, he's been a weird coach. Like, it's hard to put into words.
We'll see what happens with him going into next, coming
real
up.
Quick, I'll tell you a story. That Arizona coach must have known he was getting fired because when we got the end of that Seattle game here on Sunday, and you could just see the look on his face, like he was just defeated. Like when he went out to shake Carroll's hand, he's like, yeah, like he just wanted to get the fuck off the field.
Another guy too that had that look was Bowles for the Jets. I don't know if you saw any of that game.
Yeah,
he was just staring into nowhere, into outer space for a big part of that game.
That's what it was. Adam said he looked jaundiced.
Yep, it was it's man. I guess if you're just let me get this paycheck and go home.
Basically,
give me my pink slip. Give me my pink slip and my paycheck and let me go.
All right, man. Wild card weekend. I'm gonna pull up the games and we'll pick them here.
Yeah.
All right, to start it off, Saturday afternoon we have Indianapolis traveling to Houston.
I like the Texans. I think their defense is gonna shut down Luck enough, and I think I think their offense. I mean, they don't have Demaryius Thomas now. They don't have Will Fuller, but they still have Hopkins. They still have Deshaun Watson, and they still have Lamar Miller. I'll throw a score out. I like 31 to 20, 31 to 17 ish. I think the Texans control this game pretty well though. But I don't really. I like the Colts that they got in. I like that Frank Reich turned them around, but I don't think they win Saturday.
I agree too. I think Houston wins. They'll do enough. I know the Colts prided themselves on drafting a lot of offensive linemen to protect Luck, because they've done a great job doing that. But I think this might be the one game you see him really take a beating.
Yeah, it's very possible with what Houston can throw at them with Watt and Clowney, and they're
and Merciless and whoever else.
Yeah, they're definitely the kind of team that if Luck's going to take a beat, and it's going to come from them.
Yeah. All right, next Saturday night we have Seattle traveling to Dallas.
I'll let you do this one first since I did the last one. We can flip-flop.
All right. I know a lot of Dallas fans aren't going to like this, but I think Seattle's going to win, and they're going to win easily.
Ooh, I like Seattle, but I don't like it easily. I think these two teams match up well against each other with the running games that they both have. They have similar kind of quarterbacks, but obviously Russell Wilson has done far more in his career than Dak Prescott, and he's a lot more efficient. I like Seattle, but I like it like 23-20, man. I think this is going to come down to the very, very end. It's going to be a very good primetime game.
The reason I say easily is the Seahawks have the best running game in pro football. Well, they did at one point this season, yards per game. And
I think they still do.
I think they are going to do something similar to what the Colts did to Dallas and just punch them right in the mouth.
That's a very good comparison there, that Colts game against Dallas and this game. Yeah, see, I think Dallas hasn't been in this position that they're in right now in a little while, winning the division. I don't even know. Would you call them the favorite in this game?
To me is like a pick 'em.
Like I think this is what I think it's going to come down to be honest with you. I think Pete Carroll's going to outcoach Jason Garrett, and that's what's going to cost Dallas this game. It's either going to be that, or I think Russell Wilson's going to make a big play that Dak Prescott can't. And Dak Prescott's going to turn it over.
Here's an interesting thing that Adam just said. Maybe it turns into a kicking game where you have Janikowski against Maher, and I would take Janikowski over him any day of the week.
Oh, man. I
More
don't know.
so because Janikowski could kick them long.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man.
But either way, I think Seattle wins. More so because they're battle-tested, and they kind of know what it takes to win.
Yeah, we're in agreement on the winner. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right. Excuse me. Next, we have the Chargers traveling to Baltimore.
I guess I take this one first. I'm going with Baltimore. I don't like Phillip Rivers in playoffs and big games. They're 12-4, but I like Baltimore at home, man. The Chargers got to travel all the way across the country. It's the early start, so they're playing at 10 a.m. for them. Man, I like Baltimore. I think Lamar Jackson does enough to win the game for him.
I'm going to shock you with this one. I'm taking the Chargers. And the reason I'm taking them is Baltimore already beat them about less than 4 weeks ago. And you know how really hard it is to beat a team twice in a season.
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard. But, I mean, the Cowboys did it to the Eagles this year.
That's true. But I mean, like, good teams. But...
Wait, you're saying that the Eagles and Cowboys aren't good teams?
No, I'm messing with you.
Yeah, I
But
got you, man.
I think they'll make some adjustments and Rivers will get it done.
You make very good points, but
No,
I still like Baltimore.
yeah. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have the Eagles going into Chicago. My turn.
Yep, that's all you.
I'm taking the Bears.
Man, I've had a good run of picking against the Eagles and having the Eagles win, so I'm taking the Bears. But here's a couple points I'd like to point out. You have two coaches that are very familiar with each other, being that they work together, they're friends, they know each other almost inside and out. You know, you have here's the thing, and the Rob in the chat just nailed it. I think a big difference in this game is Mitch Trubisky has never played a playoff game, obviously. Nagy, how I heard people pronounce it.
However you pronounce it.
Has never coached a playoff game as a head coach. Khalil Mack and those guys, they don't have a lot of playoff experience, right?
I don't think any of them do.
When you look on the other side of the field at the Eagles, you have Doug Peterson, obviously at this point has to be considered one of the best playoff coaches in the NFL after what happened last year. You have a quarterback in Nick Foles who just, man, he obviously shown last playoffs, these last weeks, that he's battle tested to the core. Sproles is back for the Eagles now, and since he's returned healthy, you've seen a totally different looking Eagles team.
Yep.
Everything lines up for the Eagles to win this game, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to take the Bears just because obviously they're a really good football team at this point. I would argue that the Bears' schedule was really, really weak because they played in one of the easiest divisions in football, obviously. But we'll see, man. It's to me, this is the game of the week, and I think it's obviously in that slot. What I would consider the Sunday primetime game, because whichever game is last is the primetime on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because it's going to dip. It's 4:40, so it's going to dip into, the 8:30 finish kind of, time. But hey, I'm going with the Bears, but to me, this game at this point, with the experience factor, with, the playmaking factor that the Eagles have, Alshon Jeffrey playing the Bears, which is another, in Chicago, could be a big motivation for him. Almost like, look what I can do. I got a ring, and you guys really didn't want to pay me, and, we'll see, though, man.
It's definitely going to be interesting. But on that note, we're going to get out of here for today. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, give it a thumbs up, all of that stuff. And we will see you back next week. Have a good day, everybody.